As we continue with our Ask Terra video series, today we interview Alexander Young of Sheppard Insurance Brokerage. Alex, thank you so much for coming to meet us, man.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you as part of Sheppard Insurance Brokerage.
Yes.
And you know, at Terra Caribbean, we believe in our clients making informed decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is about sharing some information so they're better informed when they need insurance. And you need insurance in life.
Correct.
You need insurance to take a mortgage, you need health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go through some of that together, and you know, maybe we could start by you telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got into insurance, and a bit about what an insurance brokerage is.
Yeah,
because it's different than an insurance company.
Correct. Insurance brokers, insurance companies, same field, but we are two different entities essentially. So personally, I got into insurance basically right out of university. And it's not to say I was exactly looking to get into insurance. I was out of university, I was looking for a job, got into insurance. I was actually at an insurer, and I was very grateful and lucky enough to, at that insurer, touch on a lot of different areas of insurance. And from there, the more I learned about the product, the more I learned about how it could actually be used as a financial tool for people and sort of really become an integral part of their life and their financial planning and their ability to protect themselves against just daily risk and the lifetime risk that everybody faces. I got more and more interested in it. So eventually was brought into Sheppard, and we are known a lot for our securities management, wealth management, estate planning.
Correct.
But we also, as you say, we are an insurance broker as well. And the main difference between theirs, we are not specifically tied to one insurer. We are an intermediary. So think of it as you have the insurance market with all these different insurers that some offer different products, some have different strengths, etc. And we have a client that comes in and everybody's needs are different. Everybody's needs and the need to protect yourself against different risks are different. It's very subjective. So what we do as a broker is we are in contact with all the different insurers to sort of provide that holistic coverage for our client. So we don't actually have to go to one insurer. We basically go off the need of the client, and we are a sort of middle person that sort of manages your insurance needs. So think of us, an insurance broker, as your insurance department. You need something, you need a risk mitigation tool, you come to us and we figure out how to get it solved for you.
Very good, yeah. So you do the work for the client based on their needs.
Correct.
You'll shop around, find them the best solution at the best price.
Correct.
It's much like us. Terra Caribbean is a brokerage.
Correct.
When you tell me what kind of house you're looking for, we will shop around, find you the best options and bring them to you.
Exactly, yeah.
So as we talk about insurance and we talk about first-time homeowner, you know, and in preparing to own a home one day, there may be somebody who doesn't intend to buy right now, but does intend to buy in the future. How can they prepare themselves, and what type of insurance could they look at?
Well, what I would say is the first thing is if you have an aspiration of buying a home, it could be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. One of the first things to actually look at is life insurance. So, I mean, there are different types of life insurance, but when we're talking specifically about purchasing a home, term life insurance is really the one that we would recommend. Right now, what term life insurance is, it's very standard life insurance. It covers your life in the event of your passing. It could be done for either a particular period of time, so you can go, for example, 20 years, 25 years of coverage, or up to a certain age. So 60, 65, some go as high as 85. And the reason we recommend it is because you get the most bang for your buck. You get the most amount of coverage for the least amount of premium.
Meaning the earlier you start is the more affordable it would be.
Correct. So when you buy insurance at a younger age, you're costed at your age and your health at that point in time. And that's a big thing, right? So the cost for somebody to buy $2 million of term life insurance at age 20 is going to be very different than the cost of somebody at age 35, age 30. So what we say, if you have a thought to buy a property at some point, the earlier you start that, it's better, because the premium, the cost for the that you're paying, whether it's monthly, annually, it's not going to change. What you paid at age 20, at age 35 is going to be the same thing. Your premium is not going to be increased if you took out the plan at age 20. So if it's something for a long-term plan, you can take it out from the time you have thought about it. And a big thing as well is you don't know what might happen to you over a 15-year time span, right? Now, insurance covers you at your health and your age. So if something happens to you, let's say you develop some, let's say high blood pressure, any sort of medical condition that could actually increase your premiums. So it's good to take it out when you're healthy, when you're strong. So when the time actually comes to take out your mortgage, and you will find when you go to take out your mortgage, the banks will ask, do you have a life insurance policy? You already have it there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen that, right? I mean, it's clear that as we get older, we're more susceptible to little issues which affect the premium, right? And just age alone affects the premium.
Correct.
But I've seen it where people go to buy a property, they're in the final stages, they found what they love, you know, for them and their families, and then they face an insurance challenge on top of the mortgage payments, the deposit, the stamp duty, all of the additional costs. So it makes a lot of sense to get that organized in front. So when you go to the bank for the mortgage, that's covered and the premium is manageable.
Exactly. And you also don't want to wait until something happens and you're uninsurable, because you might find yourself in a position where you can't even get the life insurance. Not willing to give you cover. So when you're young, when you're strong, when you're healthy, get it done.
The insurance also, and correct me, but is protecting your family, right? So should something happen to you, you don't want your family to stand the cost of the mortgage and your different obligations, right?
Correct, 100%. I mean, people who are the sole breadwinner, for example, you may go into and get into a mortgage with a bank or financial facility, and God forbid something happens to you and you pass, the life insurance policy that you have held against that mortgage, it will basically pay off the rest of the mortgage for you. So your family is still protected. They still keep that roof over their head. You know, that home that you would have taken any time to build with your family, they're not going to lose it after losing you. You know, and that's a big thing. That's a big thing. You insulate them from that, because that's a very difficult time. So to also have to worry about where you're going to stay, how they're going to pay this, it's something that you take off the burden away from them. So it's a huge thing. It's a huge tool.
Absolutely. So at Terra Caribbean, we would always encourage young people, first-time homeowners, even people that are contemplating buying a home, to go to a broker like Sheppard Insurance Brokers. Let them shop around, let them offer you the options and get involved from early.
Yeah.
So that would be insurance as it relates to a mortgage and purchasing a property. But then once you purchase the property too, there's some differences between the property and the chattel, and maybe you could talk us through that.
Yeah, definitely. So when you go to take out your insurance policy, when you have a home, right, there's something called homeowners comprehensive insurance. So what that basically does, it protects the standard and the baseline of that insurance, protects the building and the structure. It's going to protect your walls, the doors, the actual structure, everything that's actually in place. Everything that you have here, your roofing, that type of thing.
That would be homeowners insurance.
That's your homeowners. That's the building portion of it.
Right.
Right? Now, there's a big difference. And the best way to explain this is by using an example. Let's say you have a flood, God forbid, a flood happens and it damages everything in the home. So your couch, your TVs, your floors, your walls, all these different type of things. A tragic event takes place, right? If you don't have cover for your contents specifically, all of those things inside of your home, your couch, your electronics, your valuables, your jewelry, etc., there's no coverage in place for that. The standard homeowners cover is going to cover the building. And if you want to cover the items inside, you need to also add on the contents of your home and your property. So it's a very important distinguishing factor to make sure that people are aware that if a fire takes place and the property is burned down, yes, the building and the structure will be covered, but your washer, your dryer, your TVs, your couches, tables, this type of thing, furniture, they are not going to have any sort of compensation for that. So if right now, and encourage people, if you only have your building insured, review your policy. You can come and talk to us at Sheppard. We will look at your policy, see what you have, see what risk you're exposed to, and see if we can put something in place to sort of mitigate against that.
Yes, very good. Well said. I think people may not understand that building insurance is one thing and contents is another. And that,
correct.
It's very important to understand that. When you own a home as well as when you're a tenant.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're renting a home, the owner should insure the property, while you as a tenant should insure your contents.
Absolutely, absolutely. So because remember, you have to have a particular interest when you're taking out an insurance policy. You have to have an interest in whatever is going to be lost, right? So the owner of the property, their interest is in the building.
Yes.
But your interest must be in your items and your contents. So you need to make sure that you are protected. The things that you own, that they are protected. And you can't do that. If you're renting, I mean, you'll know you can find a beautiful space unfurnished. So you come in and you purchase all of your internals. Something happens, God forbid, and then there's no recourse for you. So it's very important to sort of understand that even though you may not be the owner of the building or the owner of the property or the space, you can still secure your interest in that particular area.
Absolutely, because as you mentioned, a flood earlier, a tap might bust in the night, and you, having bought all these lovely rugs and couches and so on,
Correct.
you as a tenant stand that loss.
Yeah.
So be sure to insure your contents.
Absolutely.
As you rent a property. So that would be residential property, but for instance, an office building like this, where a small business maybe, start up and rent some space and then go outfitting and spending money for their staff and for the people to be happy. How can you protect a small business?
So that is also done through a level of contents, tenants and improvements. You may come and rent a space completely empty, and you decide to put in this lovely flooring, all the fittings. You decide to actually upgrade the space really and truly, and obviously you want to protect that investment. So you can still, as a commercial entity, still ensure those upgrades that you would have done to the actual space to make sure you want to really mitigate against any sort of risk regarding that. So you can still 100% do that.
Yeah, it's not cheap, and it all adds up. And to outfit an office space like this, you'd be amazed how much money it costs.
Yeah.
When you have to do flooring and partitioning and gypsum walls and and something happen, you stand to lose that. It can affect the longevity of your business.
Of course, especially for small businesses, people and maybe now starting up, maybe you're now moving into your first space and you decide, okay, I really want to make this a beautiful space for my clients, my customers, and my workers, and you want to make sure everything is, up to your standard. You might invest a heavy amount of money. As you say, it's not a cheap thing to do, especially when you have a space, maybe large, maybe you really want to make sure everything is top quality. Something happens and all of a sudden you have a huge step back in the business, you lose everything, you lose your space. So I really try to encourage people to think about what risks they're being exposed to right now. What could happen to my business? Come and have a chat with us. Let's sit down and see, where are you exposed, and then see how maybe we could find a way to protect yourself against that.
Absolutely, yeah. Risk management is integral in everything we do, because we've seen what happens in the world globally and even here locally, what can happen, right?
Yeah.
So to sit with an advisor and get good advice on risk management, I think is extremely important.
I agree.
So as we talk about, health on the whole, right? So we drive in and out of the office every day. Sometimes we have different activities that have different levels of risk. Maybe we should speak a bit about medical insurance.
Definitely. I mean, especially tying it back into, let's say you have a homeowner, aspiring homeowner, somebody's now purchased a property, right? This mortgage that you have to pay every month. Now, health complication or an ailment can happen to anybody at any point in time, many times without any warning.
Yep.
And that can absolutely decimate anybody's finances, right? There's no cost you will pay, or no cost rather that you wouldn't pay to keep your health or to keep yourself alive, to keep yourself around for your family, your friends, your loved ones, right? And
absolutely.
Health insurance, no matter what area in life, whether we're talking real estate, we're talking business, anything, travel, anything at all, health insurance is one of the most important risk mitigation tools for anybody to have, really and truly, because let's say you are healthy, strong, fit, you purchase a beautiful home, going to work every day, and an example I actually like to use is, let's say it's not a health ailment, let's say you get into a car accident, right, and you have medical bills to pay. You'll be hard pressed to find people who will not pay the medical expenses needed to keep themselves healthy and around, as opposed to paying their mortgage. So what you do is you have that health insurance plan in place. So in the event something happens, it mitigates that unexpected expense that would have happened through whether it's an accident, an ailment, so you can still keep your obligations to your mortgage, your family, your bills, etc.
Yes.
You don't, all of your money isn't going into paying your medical expenses. You have a health insurance plan to protect against that. I think that's extremely important.
Yes, absolutely. That can happen to any one of us at any time, and your expenses just skyrocket.
Correct.
I mean, we know what can happen in some of these hospitals. It gets out of control.
Correct. Yeah.
So you need support in times like that, because we have everyday expenses. We have families, we have mortgages,
groceries, everything like that.
Groceries, yeah. So it's really to deal with those unexpected medical expenses. And as you rightfully said, health is paramount.
Yeah, health is wealth, as they say.
Yes.
And what you find now, and I'm sure people have experienced it, the cost for healthcare is increasing consistently for medication, for doctor's visits, for anything like that.
Yeah.
So if anything were to happen, you need to seriously look into it. To pay that totally out of pocket, to drain your savings, that type of thing is a big strain financially. Big strain financially, and it has caused people to lose their homes because you couldn't upkeep with your rent payments, couldn't upkeep with your mortgage payments, and now you have this health issue on your hands as well. So that is something that no matter what walk of life you're in, I encourage everybody to have a health policy. Something is always better than nothing. Some coverage is better than nothing. I mean, we've as a society, we see so much times people asking for assistance, asking to purchase tickets for different type of things, for donations, that type of thing.
Yes. Kind of GoFundMe stuff.
Exactly. GoFundMe is huge now. And having a health insurance, it may not pay everything, but it can definitely take a big burden off of you and can help you keep your obligations, keep a roof over your family's head, because not all your money is drained just keeping you around.
Yeah.
You know? So I always encourage people to have.
Yeah, in a time like that, when you're dealing with a challenge like that, you don't want to now have to go and lean on others and
correct. Exactly.
to just keep yourself afloat so you can keep your family. So again, I mean, great having you, and this is why we have these talks, right? Because we want to educate Joe public. We want them to be well informed to make the right decisions.
Yeah, definitely.
So Alex, thanks again, man, for coming to see us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's an honor having you.
Thank you.